Current economic indicators are showing that there's a possible recession. And if you're worried about what's to come for your small business, don't worry, you're not alone. There are things that you could do to prepare your small business. There's just certain adjustments that you need to make in order to prepare and be able to weather the storm. Today, we're going to go over 6 tips to help prepare your small business for a possible recession. My name is Josh Rincon, and I'm the program director here at ALANCE Latino, and I'm super excited to bring this workshop for all of you. Before we start, I would have just asked if you can please share this workshop with your friends and family. That way we can empower our community so they can also be prepared and know what to do in case we face a recession, right? How to prepare your business for a recession. Let's start with the most basic thing. What is a recession? Now, a recession is a period of reduced business activity. Generally, it's identified by a fall in the GDP, gross domestic product, in 2 consecutive quarters. And during a recession, the economy struggles, people lose their jobs, and companies make fewer sales. And the country's overall economic output declines. What is going out, right? So that's a basic definition of what is a recession, just in case you were wondering. That way we have a clear definition of what is a recession. Now, this is what we're going to be going over today. We're going to be going over 6 steps that you can take to prepare your business for a possible recession. I'm going to have a little pop quiz in the middle of it, and I'm going to have some recession FAQs, frequently asked questions. And at the end, we'll share our contact information just in case you want to contact us, you have any questions or whatever it may be the case. Now, let's start out with the first one. What is the first tip? Build a cash reserve. Just like that picture is showing cash, most experts would advise you to set aside a minimum of at least 6 months worth of basic business expenses. However, if you can set aside more than 6 months, let's just say a year, then you will set your business up for even better position. What are some business expenses that we can go over? What are some examples? Here are some examples. Payroll, what you pay your employees, yourself, etc. Bank fees and interest, rent, utilities, insurance. These are all important things you got to pay, right? Basic essential expenses, equipment or software, any sort of programs that you have to run your business, your marketing, if you're paying someone to do your marketing, etc., your security system, legal fees, and so much more. So those are just some examples of some business expenses that you might have, right? Now, let's just say it costs you $20,000 a month to cover all your business expenses and stay operational, meaning you don't shut down your doors. If you multiply that number by 6, let's just say 6 months, that comes out to $120,000, just like it shows right here. Now, let's just say you need to save up for a whole year. That would just be double the $120,000, which is $240,000, which is this number right here. Now, it's very important to understand that the more money you save, the better position you'll be in. In a recession, we'll talk about how long a recession can last and the frequently asked questions, but if you only have a month to cover your business expenses, you're in a pretty tight place. Let's just say for 1 month, you have an emergency, you're not making any money, your cash flow is down. You only have 1 month to survive. After that, you're going to have to take out loans, lines of credits, ask money from family and friend, use from your savings, your own personal savings. I don't know if you want to do that, right? That's a last-ditch effort. You don't want to go and beg for money or beg the bank for money. You don't want to do that. You want to have your own funds, right? You want to build a cash reserve, especially if we're about to hit a recession. And let's just say your sales are down, you're not making as much. In general, most companies, their sales go down, but there are some companies that actually do really well in recessions. We'll talk a little bit about that in a bit. Now, what is the second thing, the second tip that we would like to give you if you're a small business and there's a recession coming, right? The second thing is you got to cut any non-essential expenses. So we just talked about building a cash reserve and looking at all your business expenses, right? I said essential business expenses because a lot of business owners, they have a lot of non-essential expenses. Just like this picture shows here, a group of people eating out. Maybe you're eating out a lot and having a lot of business dinners, right? Business dinners. Or whatever it is, right? Which is fine. Maybe you want to take out your employees out for dinner and you do it maybe once a week or twice a week or whatever it is. It's not something that's essential to operate the business, but if it's part of your culture, then if you see it as essential, that's up to you, right? Every business is different, but it's very important to look at things in your business that are non-essential, right? And there's also something that you can think about. You can do alternatives to your expenses. For example, let's take marketing. Let's say that right now you're paying someone $3, $4, $5,000 a month to do all your marketing. That means your social media, etc. Let's just say someone that manages all your social media for your business. You're paying them a couple $1,000s a month. Great, they're helping you, etc. Whatever. Now, if you look on here, this is some crazy numbers: 290,000 followers, 15 million views, 900,000 likes, and it costs $0. What is that? That's us. That's our nonprofit, ALANCE Latino. Through TikTok and Instagram, we were able to reach in a little bit less than 6 months. We were able to grow to 290,000 followers on Instagram and TikTok, over 15 million views, almost 1 million likes, and it costed us $0. I get it. It took time. I mean, time is money, right? But we didn't have to go out and pay someone to do this for us. So there are alternatives to some of your expenses. Maybe you don't have to necessarily cut marketing in general, because marketing is important. That's the best way to get your customers to know about your business, especially if you don't have a huge connection with a lot of different people. The best way is putting your name out there on social media, on Google, etc. So marketing is very important especially for a small business. If you're a business like McDonald's, everyone knows McDonald's, right? Everyone knows Amazon. Everyone knows, etc. These big businesses. But if you're a mom and pop shop in the corner and no one knows who you are, but you have the best food in town, the best Italian food, the best Mexican food, the best way to get that across is through marketing, right? Now, I don't want to turn this into a marketing workshop, but what I'm trying to tell you guys is there's alternatives. Maybe during a recession, you're going to have to cut on your marketing expenses and paying so much and having someone manage your social media, but maybe you can do it yourself. You know, we were able to do it without paying someone. Maybe if you have a young cousin, if you have some friends that are maybe a little bit younger and they're into your social media and all that, maybe you pay them a couple $100 and tell them, hey, go look at what's working for other businesses, successful businesses on TikTok and Instagram, and literally just copy them. Not necessarily copy word for word, but for example, if you own a mobile detailing business, you wash cars, right? Let's just say that all you do all day is record videos of you washing the wheels, washing the whatever, all the parts of the car. Make several videos out of that, post it onto TikTok and Instagram, throw on some hashtags, whatever. And let's just say out of 5 videos that you post, one of them goes viral, you gain a couple thousand followers, and great. You paid $0 because all those videos were already going to be included since you're already washing cars. These are free content. It's literally free content if you're washing cars already. You don't have to go pay someone to make these videos. You could do it yourself with your iPhone. You don't need a fancy camera. So I don't want to get too much into it because then it's going to turn into a marketing workshop. But very important to understand, cut any non-essential expenses and also think about alternatives to some of these expenses. Maybe there's things that you can change within the company that are going to save you money, and you're still doing that. Marketing, et cetera, et cetera. Now, the next tip would be secure financing before you need it. Just like this picture shows here, these people giving a handshake. This person right here represents, let's just say, a banker, and these two people are small business owners. I have a question for all of you guys. How much does a bank cost? How much does a bank charge you to give you advice? Any guesses? Put them in the comment section below. Who can guess how much a bank charges you to answer your questions? $0. The answer is $0. Something that people don't realize. Your accountant, they charge you by the hour. Your attorney, your lawyer, charge you by the hour. Doctors, all these professionals, they charge you by the hour, which is fine. That's their job, right? They have to charge. But bankers, they don't charge you to answer your questions about maybe I want to open a small business account. I want to get a line of credit. I want to, et cetera, et cetera. I want to learn about, for example, since we're in a recession, we're about to be in a recession, possibly, but the whole pandemic, there was this thing called PPP loans, which a lot of small businesses, even though they applied for it, they didn't qualify because they lacked the relationship with the bank. They didn't know who to go to. They didn't even have a bank account, a business bank account more specifically. So I put some of the banks that we work with here at the nonprofit. There's Self-Help Credit Union, Pacific Premier, Bank of Hope, Citizen Business Bank, Pacific Western Bank, Wells Fargo, Chase, Royal Business Bank. So we got the big banks, medium-sized banks, smaller banks, all types of banks, even credit unions that we work with. It's very important that you start now building your relationship with the bank, right? Because if you build that relationship with the bank, you open, let's say maybe a business bank account there. If something were to come where you need money, you needed financing, you need credit, the line of credit, whatever it is, you already have that relationship with this bank. It's going to be all right because you already have that connection. If you're a little bit intimidated in building that initial, rapport, building a relationship with the bank, reach out to us. We literally have these connections with these banks and so many more. These are just a handful of the banks that we know and we have a established relationship with. So reach out to us. We have all these relationships with all these banks and so much more. Especially if you get to a point where your business is, let's just say it's not even going bad, it's going great during the recession. You have amazing amount of sales, but you just don't have enough cash in your bank to cover all the sales, all the stuff that's going on. Let's say you sell t-shirts and out of nowhere you get a big order for 10,000 t-shirts and you're like, great, I'm gonna make a lot of money, but I don't have enough money to pay for to build these t-shirts, to be able to design them, to pay for the design of them, to be able to ship them and all that. Like, I need the money. That's where a bank comes in handy, where they can give you a line of credit so you can pay that. Then once the person that made the order pays you for this purchase, then you're good. You pay back the bank, you take your profit, et cetera, et cetera. You pay your employees. So it's very important that you understand there's a word, it's called working capital, right? The only way they can get working capital, the best way, and a lot of the bigger businesses definitely take advantage of this, but smaller businesses don't, because they don't even have a business bank account a lot of times, or they don't even know who is their business bank representative, right? All these banks and many more have specific people that are working with small businesses, right? So very important to understand. And if you're a little intimidated, reach out to us, right? Now, we're in the halfway point, but I want to do a little pop quiz. I want to test your guys' knowledge. The first question I want to ask you guys, and comment in the section below, wherever you're watching us. First question, give 2 examples of business expenses, right? In the comment section below, just give 2 examples. What comes to your mind? 2 business expenses, all right? I'll give you a couple seconds to write that down. As you're writing it down, you're commenting it down. Here's the second question. Do you always have to pay someone to do your marketing? True or false? What do you guys think? I know I gave you guys an example. Let's see if you remember. Do you always have to pay someone to do your marketing? Or maybe you could do it yourself. What do you think? Is that true? Is that false? Third question. Do banks charge you to speak with them and answer questions? Yes or no? Do they charge you? Does the bank charge you just to answer your questions, just to speak with them, right? I'm not going into, obviously they charge you to get a loan, to get a credit card and all that, but just to simply speak to them and ask questions. Do they charge you per hour like an accountant or a lawyer does? Yes or no? Last question. I know we just went over this, but can you name a business bank? Meaning, can you name a bank that serves specifically not just personal accounts like your own personal checking and credit account, but they also offer business credit, business checking accounts and business lines of credit, etc. Can you name one? If you can't name one, then that's where maybe you got to start going out and to your local banks and start building that relationship. Hopefully you got all those questions right. And that's not too hard of questions, but the first question, give 2 examples of business expenses. I can think of 2. Let's say your marketing and your payroll. The second question, do you always have to pay someone to do your marketing? And the answer is false. You don't always have to pay. Yes, many times, many businesses pay for marketing, especially if you're already busy with other stuff, then you just want to handle that. But if money is tight, maybe there's an option for you to hire maybe a friend or family member, or even do it yourself like we did at the nonprofit, where we paid $0 and we got the biggest reach we could have ever imagined. And we continue getting a huge amount of reach for free. The third one, do banks charge you to speak with them? And the answer is no. Lawyers charge you per hour a lot, right? Accountants charge you per hour to speak with them, but a bank doesn't. You literally go inside the bank, ask them, hey, I'm a small business owner. I want to speak to a representative, someone that can help me. Okay, literally set you up there, or maybe they'll set you up for an appointment. Yeah, and name one business bank. Chase has business accounts. Wells Fargo, Royal Business Bank. I already named 3. You guys get the point. Now, 4th tip, take control of your cash flow. Very important. Just like this picture shows, because you might be asking, what is cash flow? Well, this picture is a good example. Cash flow is everything. It's your business, it's your finances, your income, it's your profit, it's your operation, and so much more. Your cash flow is everything. What's coming in, what's coming out. Do you understand where your money is going? Just like we always tell people, when you budget your own personal finances, you got to do the same for your business. Where is your money? If you can understand your cash flow and you're always operating in a net profit, then you're in a good place. But you'd be very surprised. There's a lot of small business owners that are not profiting. They're barely breaking even, or they're even losing, and they don't even know. Very, very important. This is a stat by the US Bank. 82% of businesses fail because of cash flow issues. 82% of businesses fail because of cash flow issues. That is huge. If you don't know where your money's coming in, where it's going out, you're like, I let my accountant handle it. He does it all. I don't have to worry. Even though he's a professional, sit him down next to you. Look over your finances with him. That way you can understand your cash flow, or your bookkeeper, or whoever does it. That way you can understand and know where your finances is. That way when you do have to cut costs, you know where to cut costs, where, etc. Right? It's very, very important that you take control of your cash flow. Just like this picture, there's so many things. Money is flowing in, money is flowing out. You better make sure once it's in your business where it's going before it flows out. Because money, boom, just like that, it flows out very easily, right? Because we're very consumers. We consume everything, but very important that you still maintain a savings, investments, and all that, right? Now, the fifth tip for a business that wants to prepare for a possible recession is you got to build your business to sell it. This is important to have this mindset when growing your business. You might be asking me, but Josh, I don't want to sell my business. My business is everything. It's my baby. I quit my job because I wanted to start this business. Why would I sell it? Hold on. I don't want you guys to sell your business. Not at all. What I'm trying to say, what I'm trying to get at is that you want to have a mindset of, tomorrow I'm going to sell my business. Is it ready? Can it operate without me here? Is it 100% operatable? My tongue is twisting, but is this business set up in a way where it has systems in place where if I'm not here, it operates 100% without me there? You want to have a business like that. If your business model is like you handle everything, the accounting, the marketing, the finance, the payroll, the HR, everything, I get it if you just started your business, this year and you're the only person working there, maybe you have one employee, then you kind of have to do everything unless you hire out third parties to handle some of that stuff. But you have to build your business around a system so that you just press play, boom, the show still goes, even whether you're there or not. Very important that you build systems. That's why there's so many very successful businesses that maybe they don't have the best service, or maybe for many people, their opinion, they think, they don't have the best food or the best of this or that. But their system is amazing, that they know how much they're profiting, even if they just sell one French fry. For example, McDonald's. McDonald's has built a system in place that they know every little thing to the penny, and that someone can come in, no matter their work background, and can just with simple training, learn their system, boom, they're already experts. They know how to make every single thing on the menu because they have a system in place. Do you have a system in your business? I'm curious. I'm asking all of you guys watching. Comment below. Do you have a system in place in your business that if you weren't to show up in your business tomorrow, it would be 100% operatable? No problems, right? You want to have that mindset. Build your business as if you're going to sell it to someone tomorrow. I get it. It takes time. You can't build a system overnight, but have that mindset. That way, little by little, you start figuring out stuff and place systems in place so that for whatever reason, a recession comes and, a lot of people have to step down or whatever, you have a system in place, right? That way, if all those people leave, you could easily hire other people and they'll know what to do, how to operate the business because there's a system in place, right? Very, very important. Now, the last tip that we want to go over is that you got to embrace adaptability. You got to be adaptable as a small business, especially small business. I know the larger businesses, they have the relationships with the banks, they have millions, sometimes billions of dollars, and sometimes even in the recessions, they make more money than ever. I can think of Amazon. The owner of Amazon's net worth grew by billions, and many other big businesses. Now, there's a lot of small businesses, though, during the pandemic that shut down. They weren't adaptable. Maybe they didn't sell anything online, and let's say they sold food, and all they relied on was walk-ins, people walking in, sitting down, ordering food. Well, you have to be able to do takeout now. You have to be able to take in online orders. If you had no system in place, if you weren't adaptable, you didn't go into the whole e-commerce world, then you probably shut down. And it's very unfortunate. but it's super important that you remain adaptable. That's the only way that you can survive any recession, any problem that comes your way, really. Because it's not just the recession that this workshop is preparing you for. It's for anything, any emergency that comes up. You have a certain emergency, you get in a car accident for whatever reason, you can't work for a couple of weeks, a couple of months. Is your business able to, remain operationable, right? It's very important, right? And it's important that you implement everything that we talked about today, all the way from the beginning, from the very beginning to the 6 different things that we talked about today. Very, very important that you implement all these things. If you're able to be adaptable and you shift, you make a little adjustments here, little adjustments there in your business, then not only will you be recession proof, you'll be future proof almost in a way, because you have a system in place, you know where to cut unnecessary costs, you have an emergency fund in place. Let's say you have a year worth of emergency fund. Within a year, you can fix issues, you can fix problems for the most part, for most cases. So if you have all those things in place, you're going to set yourself up for success. And you can apply all these things also to your own personal life. Maybe you're watching and you don't have a business. You can cut unnecessary costs in your own personal expense and your own budgets. You can be adaptable as a person. You lose your job. Why? I have these skills here. I can go work this place. So it's very important that a lot of these things we talk about is not just for small business owners, but people in general. If you apply these things in your life, you would be in a good place, even with or without a recession. Now, I want to go over 3 frequently asked recession questions, right? Because with the recession, a lot of people ask these 3 questions. Number 1, why is it important to have cash in a recession? First one right here. During a recession, revenue and cash flow often slow down, meaning maybe during a recession, your product or service isn't as popular because it's not a need. Maybe people are just focused on rent, so their shelter, their food, and transportation, and that's it. They got to pay for gas because they got to go to work. They got shelter because they got to have somewhere to live, or somewhere to sleep. But maybe you sell something where it's like, I don't really need it. It's something I would want, so I'm going to cut down on that. And only a certain amount of people can afford to pay for your product or service, right? So that's why it's important to have cash. That way, if your sales go down, you have you have a reserve. You have an emergency fund. Very, very important. If you build that reserve, you'll be just fine. Now, second question, what products or services do well in a recession? Now, every recession is different, right? During a recession, non-discretionary products and services such as groceries, we saw in the pandemic, what happened? Groceries probably made the biggest killing ever, especially in the beginning of toilet paper. I don't know if you guys remember, people were going crazy off that. So groceries, household items, healthcare, auto repairs, and other essentials, things that you need. You can't be like, you know what? I don't want to fix my car. I don't want to change my oil because I don't want to. No, you have to, whether you want to or not, or else that car's going to break down and it's going to become a bigger headache and a bigger expense. But in some cases, in some recessions, like in the 2008 recession, some companies, this is very interesting, makeup companies made a killing during this time. Why? Because people wanted to protect their image. It's like, hey, whether I'm struggling financially or not, I want to make sure that I'm still looking good in front of people. And there's a lot of makeup companies that did amazing. They became $0 to $1 billion companies because of the 2008 recession, because people wanted to keep up an image. It's just human nature. People want to present themselves as, hey, I'm fine, I'm doing good, I'm okay. So it's kind of tricky. Every recession is different. We don't know. Every recession looks a little bit different. Some companies make a killing. Some companies close down forever, literally. So it's very, very important that we're very adaptable, like we said in a little bit ago. Now, the last question, which is probably a very important question, is how long can a recession last? In looking at an analysis of the last 10 cycles since 1950, it shows that recessions have lasted anywhere from 8 to 18 months, with the average spanning about 11 months. So let's just say by next month, they announce, we're in a recession. So we can calculate within a year we'd be out of it. But there's no guarantee, right? The average is 11 months. It can be anywhere from 18 to 18. 18 months is simply a year and a half. But if you look at the chart, it varies. It's like these right here look like they're pretty close to each other, but the one like by 1960s, 1970s, that one took long. This is how long the recession was, and this is a good chart because you're able to see not only my bad, this is not the length that it took, but more specifically how much it went down and how much it went up. So the growth, the GDP growth after and before and etc. So some grew a lot, some didn't as much. So that's another thing people something that I don't want to, it sounds so insensitive, but you should something to be excited about after a recession, because obviously people lose jobs, businesses shut down. But a good thing, the very few things that are good about a recession, because like anything in the economy, it's a necessary business cycle. It's healthy for the economy, or else without a recession, this inflation is going to get even more rampant. You think 9% recession is bad, just wait till it's 20, 30, 40, 50% recession. If there is no, inflation, if there is no recession. That's why recessions are healthy for the economy. But one thing after a recession is, once everything goes back to normal, everything's good, people get jobs, the economy is getting better, then there's going to be a huge amount of people wanting to spend. Just like after the pandemic, after people were able to travel, what did people do? They traveled like crazy. And the airline companies made a killing. Airbnb, hotels, obviously it's going to slow down. It has slowed down a bit. But after you're able to do normal things, after you're able to spend on things that you want now, that's where things like, leisure, travel, stuff like that people don't necessarily need, but they want to do, it goes up like crazy. And that's where those companies and those businesses make a killing. So like we said before, adaptable, very adaptable. And, don't lose the faith, don't lose the hope, because the recession is not forever. It's a couple months to a year, 2, maybe 3. Obviously, its effects for some people will last forever, because maybe they closed the business or they lost their job, and they're never going to forget that. But within a recession, there's always opportunities. You just have to be ready. If you don't have cash, if your business doesn't have cash, doesn't have systems in place, you won't be able to capture those opportunities. That's why it's good to set yourself up for success. Now, if you want to contact us, these are all our, you can contact us on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on TikTok, on Facebook, on YouTube, and you just literally search ALANCE Latino on all of those. Just like it says right here, ALANCE Latino on LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube. Now, if you want to send us an email, you have a question about one of the banks that we work with, or any other question or anything, concern, or whatever it is, suggestion, whatever it is, you can email right here at jrincon@ideocdc.com. I just put the Gmail logo, email. It's just a recent picture that we took. We did a financial literacy series with the local high school, teaching about personal finance, talking about all sorts of things. So it's just a picture of us, of some of the work that we've done in the past that we're very, very proud of. But I just want to leave you off with this. If you apply all these things that we talked about today, you're going to set your business up for success. With a recession or not, apply these things to your business, set up a system in place, cut down unnecessary expenses, understand and manage your cash flow. All these things that we talked about today are very important, not just for you as a business owner, but even in your own personal finances, because you want to make sure you're ready too in your own personal finances. It sucks seeing a business owner that their business is going great, but their own personal finances is not doing good. You want to make sure both are doing good. Very important, because obviously your own personal finances affects your family, affects your mental health, your state of being. And if that's not doing good, then it might start dragging in and affecting your business. Very important that you focus on both. Obviously, you got to separate both. A business is a business. It has its own finances, its own bylaws, its own everything, right? It has to have even its own bank account. Personal finances as well. You're all separated, but still very important that you make sure that they're both doing good. And that's all I want to leave you guys off with. Thank you again for watching today for this workshop on how to prepare your small business for a possible recession. My name is Josh Rincon. I'm the program director here at ALANCE Latino. Please be sure to share this video with your friends and family so that it can also be empowered and educated with this knowledge that we shared today. And if you have any comments, any suggestions, anything, leave them in the comment section below. We will see you next time. Take care.